a militant accused of masterminding the 2012 attacks on U.S. outposts in Benghazi, Libya, that killed the U.S. ambassador and 3 other Americans, has been convicted on terrorism-related charges but found not guilty of murder. Prosecutors said Ahmed Abu Khatar orchestrated the deadly assault, which ignited a political firestorm in Washington and was used by opponents of Hillary Clinton during last year's U.S. presidential campaign. The 46-year-old pleaded not guilty to the charges and his lawyers sought to pick holes in the evidence during the trial. The federal jury in Washington deliberated for 5 days before returning its mixed verdict, acquitting Khatar of all but 4 of the 18 charges against him. He was found not guilty of the most serious charges, including murder, and will be spared a life sentence, but could still face up to 60 years in prison. Khatar sat without expression as the verdicts were read, except to cast an occasional glance into the courtroom gallery, The Washington Post reported. U.S. Ambassador Chris Stevens was killed in the attack, which began on the 11th of September 2012, along with Sean Patrick Smith, a State Department Information Management officer. Nearly 8 hours later at a nearby CIA complex, 2 more Americans, contract security officers Tyrone Woods and Glenn Doherty, in a mortar attack. The Benghazi incident had wide political consequences, with Republicans accusing Barack Obama's administration of intentionally misleading the public and stonewalling congressional investigators, though officials denied any wrongdoing. Republicans repeatedly accused Clinton, then Secretary of State, of not doing enough to protect the diplomatic compound. The issue dogged her throughout last year's election, in which she was beaten by Donald Trump. During the trial, which opened on the 2nd of October, Assistant U.S. Attorney John Crabb asserted that Khatar hates America with a vengeance, and that his hatred simmered until it boiled over. The U.S. consulate in Benghazi is seen in flames during the clashes in 2012. Photograph Essam Al-Fatori. Reuters. Crabb said this led him to direct the attacks aimed at killing personnel and plundering maps and other property from the U.S. mission in Benghazi, where he then triumphantly paraded around the site carrying an AK-47. Later, according to Crabb, the defendant was heard at his apartment saying, "I attacked the American embassy, and would have killed more Americans that night if others had not intervened." But the defense denied that Khatar was the ringleader behind the attack. It characterized him as a Libyan patriot, who fought on the U.S. side in the war against the Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi, who was ultimately deposed. The defense claimed he simply went to the attack site because he heard there was a protest and wanted to see what was happening. Jeffrey Robinson, a lawyer for Khatar, told the court, "He didn't shoot anyone. He didn't set any fires. He did not participate in the attacks." Khatar had been awaiting trial since 2014, when he was captured by a team of U.S. military and FBI officials in Libya and taken on a 13-day journey to the U.S. aboard a Navy vessel. He was interrogated for days to obtain national security intelligence before being advised of his rights. A new team of FBI investigators then pressed him further, this time to produce evidence prosecutors could present at trial. Defense attorneys argued the interrogation tactic was illegal, but Khatar did identify other members of the Islamic extremist militia group blamed for the Benghazi attack. Among the men he pegged was Mustafa al-Imam, who was captured last month and faces trial at the same federal court in Washington.